Hello, everyone. My name is Diane, and I'm an admissions representative with Kansas State University Online. I want to start by thanking everyone for joining us tonight to learn more about our personal financial planning graduate programs. I'm joined by the program coordinator, Tiara Diamond, and the department head, Dr. Martin C. Tiara and Dr. C are going to spend roughly the next 30 minutes giving us a presentation about this program, and then we'll spend the last 10 to 15 minutes answering questions. Throughout the duration of the presentation, we will be monitoring the chat feature and answering questions as they're being asked. Some of your questions may be saved until the end for Tiara and Dr. C to answer. And if you could now please take a few seconds to locate the chat feature and answer the question you see on your screen, as we would love to learn a little bit more about you. I will give you a minute to do so now.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time on an evening. I know everybody's busy and there's a lot going on in your lives. So appreciate you taking the time to learn a little bit more about our programs and your interest in financial planning. The question that was aforementioned is coming your way. Just a minute on that. Sorry, I'm driving the slideshow. There's always problems when you trust a professor to be in charge of anything. But my name is Martin C. I am the program department head of personal financial planning, and I've now been at K-State for 9 years. It's been a great place to be. We're also going to hear from Tiara Diamond, who is the program coordinator, and she will be the one that will really help you in the entrance process and take care of you on a day-to-day basis as you go through the admittance process and as you move forward with that. So as was shared a little bit, we're going to probably have about 30 minutes of presentation, and then we're going to try to save the rest for questions. We have a little bit of a diverse audience here. We actually had 162 folks register, so it's great to have that interest. We have a number of folks that are interested in the master's program and a number of folks that are interested in the PhD. So we're going to give a little bit of survey of both and then try to save plenty of time to answer all those specific questions you might have. And there's the question that we're looking for your answer from. Where are you from and which program are you interested in? We will be recording this, and this will be posted for any individual that wasn't able to attend today to watch. So a little bit about financial planning broadly. Some of you may be experienced practitioners. Some of you may be thinking about, hey, I want to do the CFP certificate and enter into this field. So when I think about financial planning, I try to think about what would be the perfect profession. And when you think about the characteristics that might matter, what you can think about are, hey, I want a career, I want a path that's going to help people and impact the community, have that purpose in life. And then you think, it'd be great to help people, but I'd also like to make a little money along the way. And by the way, can I also have a job with lots of flexibility where I can set my own schedule? I can maybe still go play sports with my kids, be a coach and all of that. And then, if all of that does exist, there has to be very hard to get a job. And when you look at financial planning, it actually manages to tick all of these boxes. We talk about financial planning as perfect for the individual that has a passion for helping people and a mind for business, and meshing those together, getting on the same side of the table as a client and helping them move towards their life goals. I apologize to lead with a definition, but I think this is a pretty impactful definition, so I'm going to read it to you. This is how the CFP board defines financial planning, which is a collaborative process that helps maximize a client's potential for meeting life goals through financial advice that integrates relevant elements of a client's personal and financial characteristics. And I think this is really important because it highlights the purpose of financial planning isn't to make just a little bit more money on your investments or to have a necessarily higher yield. It's all about helping people meet their life goals. The end output is at the end of the day, you're able to meet with a client who you've been working with for 10 years and show, how you're paying for college for that child that you were working with, or they're finally at that retirement age, they've met that goal, and then helping them through that transition. But the other thing this always says is it's all about clients' personal circumstances. So every client is going to be a little bit different. Their goals are going to be a little bit different. And while you work within the same system, it's often going to be very customized. So with financial planning, there's a lot of different things that we think about. When we think about a pie, it used to be when you thought about financial advice, you thought of investments as that pie. And when working with clients, you're really trying to help them make more money. But now when we think about that pie, we think about all these different topics, areas. And investments is a slice, and insurance is a slice, and retirement planning is a slice, estate planning is a slice. And you have to view all of these things together in order to help a client meet their goals. We view financial planning really as a jigsaw puzzle. So each client has a different picture they're trying to build, and it's only through conversations with clients you can understand what that picture looks like. And then you've got to be the one to figure out how those pieces fit. And sometimes you got to twist and turn the pieces just right to try to get to that picture. And sometimes you have to have those tough conversations with a client and say, hey, that picture that you're putting out there, we're going to have to change that, or we're going to have to find where we can compromise to get there. We also talk a lot about financial planning is really lifestyle design. It's helping clients understand their priorities and aligning their resources with the accomplishment of those priorities. That can be a little bit of how people are spending their money, a little bit of how they're saving their money, and also a little bit conversations about how they're spending their time, how they're building relationships with family in terms of asset transfers and things like that. And I think the last thing that I would say is at the end of the day, this is what a financial planner does. A financial planner gives clients the organization, the confidence, and the accountability to follow through on recommendations in order to make sure and to help them move towards their stated goals. So a little bit real quick in terms of the career path or career opportunities. If you really want to learn more about this, you can Google, it's 12 Tribes of Financial Planning. It's a short series of YouTube videos that I did with a couple of professors from different universities across the country, where we tried to highlight the different industries, different paths where we see graduates getting jobs, and how it's really important to understand your attributes and your skill sets. For example, there are paths where you go on and be an entrepreneur and you build a business from scratch, and that's perfect for some folks. There's also career paths where you go in and you're valued for your technical skills at the beginning, and you support an existing advisor, and 5, 6, 7 years later, then you become in charge of client development. Or maybe you stay back of house as a financial planner and let somebody else worry about finding the clients and bringing them on board. But there's all sorts of jobs all over the spectrum, and we see students engaged pretty much at all of these across the board in different places and different paths. So jobs anywhere and everywhere, but really important to understand what you value, what your skill set is, and find a firm that aligns with that. So a little bit of a career path. And this is what we see more so for our undergraduates, but I think it's also pretty relevant to talk about through here. So financial planning is evolving. It used to be, you got hired and you had to build your book of business. We don't see that much anymore. We don't place there unless folks actively want that type of practice, which is an incredibly viable opportunity. It's also really hard to get going off the top. So what we typically see is our graduates are placed in jobs where they're initially valued for their technical competence, their training, their ability to sit and pass the CFP exam, where they're valued for their knowledge. And over time, what happens is they become more valued for their leadership, for their relationship management, or eventually their business development and business execution. It's There's all sorts of firms out there. This is where we tend to see most of our graduates align with, is this sort of career path, which you're starting to see emerge across the country at different financial planning firms. A little bit on salary expectations. This is from 2017 data, so it's a little bit old. I was on this webinar last year. Actually, it was in the fall, and there were some conversations about. Actually, I think it was the spring, right after the market dip, and there was lots of conversations about, is there going to be demand for financial planning, demand for financial advice? Well, as it turns out, the last year is probably the best year financial planning firms have had in a long time, because you saw, one, the market go up, and the market correction was enough to scare people straight where they needed to go see an advisor. And you saw a lot of firms getting acquisitions. And it's really interesting in this field, market downturns often lead to more people seeking the services. In many ways, you become a little bit of immune to some of that downside. But here are the salary projections, and this is nationwide, maybe higher or lower, but a couple different things that I would share with you. So the first 4 years in, and this would typically be a starting path for an undergrad. You'd be a junior advisor. Average compensation is about $65,000. I'd point out the compensation is only about that's incentive based is 10%. As you move to the right and more up, typically speaking, it's going to be incentive based off of clients you're managing or clients you're bringing on board. And this is a pretty typical salary trajectory. I've seen folks hit this. I've also seen folks surpass this quite regularly. 8 years in, you typically are an advisor managing your own client book. You may have some business development, probably not. Median salary is 94. Next step is the senior advisor, where you're pushing 170. And you are working with larger clients and sort of operating by yourself, often managing a team underneath you. And lastly would be the practicing partner. And once again, there's all sorts of career paths here. Some folks will go to firms where they want to build it from the start, and that is absolutely there. But this is just a little bit of the overview of what we've seen, how we think about financial planning in our program, what we're seeing in terms of placement of graduates, and in terms of trends for salaries and things like that. So related to the graduate programs, K-State's a really cool place to be in. I don't say that just because I work here. We have really focused on understanding what is it that you as a practitioner need to be better at your practice. And the CFP certification and the core content, we think that's really, really important. And that's going to be, unless you've already gotten your CFP, that's going to be the core of the financial planning content you take here. But we don't think that's enough. We think you need to know a lot more to be able to serve your clients well. And we're one of really only 3 programs in the country that have developed really targeted content beyond the CFP exam to help you serve your clients better. And we do that really through 2 different tracks. One is going to be the behavioral side, the clients understanding what's going on in their brain and helping them move forward. The other is going to be advances in the technical, what's the right recommendation. So financial therapy certificate, really we view that as client-centered training that helps you better serve your clients. If there's practitioners out in the audience, I'm sure they would agree. Oftentimes it's much easier to know what is the right advice. It's much harder to get the client to actually follow through on that advice. Also, sometimes you see client resistance and you don't know where that's coming from. There's something in their history, there's something going on to what's going on in their lives that's making them resistant to the change. And the financial therapy work is all about helping you understand the client's psyche and the individual perspectives and beliefs on money. And it's all taught from an applied format. We really believe that we want to leave you with skills that you can take and apply with your clients on a regular basis. So financial therapy certificate is the behavioral side. So the other 2 programs, Josh, I see you in the chat. Golden Gate University is one. They have a program that's worth checking out. Texas Tech does as well. The question is whether you want to be on person or online. Not all of those offer them online. The second component is this Advanced Financial Planning Certificate. And this isn't on the website yet because it's in the final stages of approval, but you can actually get a standalone certificate, graduate certificate in advanced financial planning. And also if you finished a master's degrees with this, you could get the graduate degree in financial planning. So this is pushing past the content that's required for the CFP, which we sort of view as sort of the base level requirements of competency, and giving you what you need to be in more specialized or more advanced scenarios. So this would include 4 courses, a course in advanced estate, advanced retirement planning, advanced tax planning. That'll be the newest course in the sequence that is coming live this fall. And then practice management content. And within this, you can also choose a couple of different electives. If you do this for the master's track, we see a lot of students that will add in a leadership studies class, that'll add in a conflict resolution class and some things along the way. So if you come in with this advanced planner track, there's some opportunities to customize for those that already have their CFPs. But once again, I'd highlight, we're really focused on practical insights that you can take and use with your clients. Financial therapy is more behavioral based. This content is more technical based. So the other conversation, and what many of you are here for, is exploring a PhD. And a PhD is really a very different conversation. So our master's program is very applied, working with clients. A PhD is right for folks that are trying to figure out why clients do what they do, and why do Americans struggle with finances? These bigger questions that they want to start to understand from a research policy perspective. The other reason to get a PhD, of course, is that you want to teach. So if you're interested in doing research to understand these topics, or maybe in a career in academia, the PhD is the conversation to have for you. But a PhD is very much a research degree. It's focused on developing the skills needed to conduct and understand research into clients' behavior. And now a couple different things with that. We are, once again, behaviorally based. If you're interested in a PhD and you're interested in understanding the optimal retirement withdrawal rate, or you're interested in understanding how to create a more efficient portfolio, those are great research questions. That's not what we're built to do here. We're built to help understand how individuals and families and clients make decisions, and be able to understand how to make them make better decisions, if that makes sense. Those are the types of research questions that we thrive on, that we can train you to do really well. So the skills can be used to become a researcher and practice with the client, and more we see it to use research to drive a firm's best practice behaviors. We're seeing more directors of financial plannings at large firms that are getting PhDs and doing things like this, where they're trying to create training opportunities for their clients. I'd also say there's huge demand among universities for individuals to teach financial planning content. They can't get enough of it. Programs are booming, and there's not enough PhDs that are coming out. So there's absolutely a need for those programs. So with that, as a little bit of a sprint overview, Tiara is going to take you a little bit through the nitty-gritty of the programs and applying, and then we will open it up to questions. So Tiara?
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Like Dr. C said, I'm Tiara, and I'm the graduate program coordinator and advisor for the programs. And so we do offer 4 graduate programs: the Financial Therapy Graduate Certificate, Personal Financial Planning Graduate Certificate, Master's Degree in Personal Financial Planning, and Doctoral Degree in Personal Financial Planning. Some of those can kind of be intertwined, so we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up. Next slide, please. Thanks. Okay, so our faculty are amazing here at K-State. They are national leaders in financial planning, financial counseling, financial therapy. They are all extremely committed to the students in the program. They're phenomenal. They're very well known. Their research is fantastic, and they really care and support the students, even our distance students. So it just is across the board. All of us are very, very committed to student success and helping students reach their goals. I'm the main contact for the program, which is really great because you'll work with me. And actually, I was looking at the names as they were coming in, and I've talked to quite a few of you already, which is really cool. So you will work directly with me through the application process. And then, in the program with what courses to take, how to enroll, any kind of student support question, I'm the main contact. And so that makes it really easy for students at a distance because there's somebody that they know they can reach out to and contact, and that they're going to be able to get the help or the information that they need. Students move through all of our programs in a cohort, which is awesome because, again, it is that feeling of cohesion. You get to know the other students. A lot of our students form their own study groups, which we definitely highly encourage when it's appropriate to network, help each other, study. It's great. A lot of our students become really great friends, and that's in both the master's program as well as the PhD program. Our master's courses are all 8 weeks in length. So students typically take 2 courses a semester, but only 1 at a time, which works really well for people that are working full-time, which most of our students are working full-time and have other commitments as well. So the 8-week course is really awesome for them because they can really focus on just that one course, complete it, have about a week off, and then start the next course. I will say, mention in there, our PhD courses are a full semester. So they're a full 16-week week course. In our master's programs and our certificate programs, we have live Zoom sessions once a week that are not mandatory, but of course encouraged to attend if you can. And if you can't, the professors do record those sessions and post them to the online course for you to watch when you're available. Or maybe you watch the live session and need to go back and watch it again recorded. We have people that do that, but it makes it very convenient, and it's very helpful to have that live interaction with the other students in the class, as well as with the professor, to be able to ask questions and just have that interaction. It's very helpful. The PhD program also has live Zoom sessions once a week. Those are mandatory to meet. Typically the cohorts are fairly small, so they all kind of have a time that seems to work for all of them. The professors try really hard to make it work for everybody, but those are mandatory sessions for the PhD program, but not for the master's and the certificate programs. Our programs do meet the educational requirements to sit for the Certified Financial Planner exam, which is the premier, the gold standard in financial planning. And we are also an educational partner with AFCPE, which is the Association of Financial Counseling and Planning Education. The main credential there is the AFC, or the Accredited Financial Counselor. Okay, next slide, please. So for those interested in the master's degree, it's kind of a pick 2 out of 3 tracks. And the first one that most people are interested in, if they have not met the educational requirements to sit for the CFP exam, is the Pfp Graduate Certificate. That's a standalone certificate as well, and it involves the 6 courses that are listed there: insurance, retirement, investments, tax, estate planning, and case studies. Students can enroll in the certificate only. They earn a graduate certificate. At the end of case studies, I submit their name to the CFP board, and they're eligible to sit for the exam whenever they choose. Most students will just stay in the master's program after that and complete with 4 additional courses, and they can choose financial therapy or the advanced planner track to complete the degree. So the financial therapy is also a standalone graduate certificate. And again, it is comprised of 4 courses. If you're in the master's program and you've completed the CFP coursework prior, then you can move right into the financial therapy courses that you can see below. It's listed: money and relationships, applied behavioral finance, financial therapy theory and research. If you're interested in the financial therapy graduate certificate as a standalone certificate, that's great also. We have a lot of different backgrounds and disciplines that are involved and interested in this certificate. We do have a prereq of 105, which is our intro to personal financial planning class, if you have not had a personal financial planning course in your past. So if you've taken a time value of money course or a intro to personal financial planning course, you do not need to take that intro course. You can start right in with the content courses. But we just want to make sure you have that base of knowledge of financial planning prior to those courses. So those are two of the three, and the third is the advanced planner track. And this is also, so this is kind of a two-part. We have a standalone now where students can take 6 courses, so 8 hours, or I'm sorry, 6 courses, 18 hours to earn the certificate. Or if it's rolled into the master's degree and they have taken the PFP certificate courses first, they can complete with these 4 courses that are listed here under the advanced planner. So advanced estate, advanced retirement, professional practices, and then we missed this edit, but instead of ethics and mediation, it should actually say advanced tax. So advanced tax is a new class that we're actually starting this fall. It is not listed yet on our website, but it will be hopefully by the end of this spring semester. The elective courses in the advanced planner option track is conflict resolution, case studies, foundations of leadership, and we also offer one additional elective. If that student is interested in pursuing a PhD, that person can also take what we call PFP 808, which is a research application course that the PhD students are required to take. That's an option. Also, you'll see that on our website if you're looking at the courses. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so the PhD, it's considered a hybrid program. And again, it is ran in cohorts, which works really, really great. It's actually really awesome to see how it all comes together, because you have a group of students that don't know each other. They come for the summer session and they leave really, really great friends. So it's really kind of fun to watch, but it's considered a hybrid program because we do have a 2-week, it's actually 10 days, but it kind of runs into 2-week on-campus summer intensive. It's usually held the first 2 weeks of August, and it is mandatory, but then the spring and fall semester coursework is all online. So it's a 90 credit hour program. The graduate school does allow 30 credits to transfer in, and this is where a lot of students or potential students have questions is it surrounding the transfer work and what's allowed and what they will have to take. And typically the easiest way is to just send me an email and we can kind of talk about it, because there is a ton of different paths and history and background that it's hard to go into each and every situation right now. So it's best to just email me your questions and I can help kind of sort it out from there, what you would be required to take and what the grad school would allow to transfer in. The coursework is full semester, so 16 weeks for those courses. The deadline to apply to the PhD program is always December 1st. With a start date of the following summer. So the first 2 weeks in August, that summer intensive, that's really the first required course for those PhD students. Students can complete the degree in 3.5 years if they're really working hard, committed, dedicated, doing their research, writing, all of those things. It's more common for us to see 4 to 5 years, students graduating in 4 to 5 years. But we do have about 1 in each cohort that will graduate in 3.5 years. Current tuition is right around $2,100 for a 3 credit hour graduate level course. we don't anticipate that to raise for the fall semester, but we aren't exactly sure yet. So that number might be a little off. They usually don't tell us new academic year tuition amounts until the summer before classes start. So around July, we'll know for sure. And then if it's a change, we'll get those numbers up on our website so that everybody can see that. But right now it's around $2,100 for a 3-credit-hour graduate level course. Books, there's a wide variety of options. Most of our students will order off of a site called Money Education. If you're curious about what books cost, you can just kind of go and see. Uh-oh, Martin might have got kicked off. Anyways, I'll try to, I have my other slides up right here, but the Money Education site will at least show you the approximate cost. There's digital, used, and new. Typically, the professors will tell you, like for tax, to kind of wait, and you probably will need the newest version for tax because that's always changing. Same thing with the state. But sometimes the insurance used book or digital book, you might be able to get by with that one. But scholarships, we always send out the most recent scholarship information that we have. As a master's program, an applied master's program, we don't have a lot of university scholarships. Global Campus does offer some, and our students are encouraged to apply, and students can apply every semester if they would like. We do always try to send out other national scholarships that we become aware of. So the CFP board will send us scholarships, sometimes FPA, other practices as well will send us scholarships at times, and I always send that information out to the students so they can determine if they'd like to apply or not. One of the questions that I get in regards to the doctoral program is, will we waive the GRE and the GMAT? And that is probably the most common question that I get. And the answer is no. Unfortunately, we will not waive the GRE or the GMAT. It is something that all students must take. We will accept a score if it's not older than 5 years. So if you've taken one in the last 5 years, feel free to, forward us that score, and we're happy to use that. But otherwise, you will need to take the test and submit the official scores. Welcome back, Dr. C. So we are accepting the online version of the GMAT and the GRE as well. So if you're in an area where the testing sites aren't open yet, or just for COVID, you don't feel like going to the testing site, we are accepting the online version of that as well. We do not have a minimum score. It is one piece of the puzzle, really looking at your aptitude in the different content areas. And again, it's just kind of one piece of the application puzzle. So let's see. I'm flipping my own slide over here. So if you want to apply, the application, you can actually get to the application a variety of different places. Basically ksu.edu, you can go to the graduate school, just directly to the graduate school and apply online that way. You can find, if you're on our website, on the PFP website, you can see to the right of the screen, there's an apply now button. So that'll get you there. And then if you're on the Global Campus site, there's also apply now buttons on the majority of the screens that you might be looking at. So lots of ways to get there. And if you have any questions about the application process, both Brittany and Diane, as well as myself, we're all happy to help you and answer your questions. The PhD application is a little bit lengthy, and there are directions on our website. So please make sure you're referring to our website. A lot of times people just go directly into the CollegeNet system, which is the K-State application system, and will just go basically off of what's in the CollegeNet system. But we do require additional materials and things that can be found on our website. So make sure you're looking at that. And if there's any questions, again, just reach out. I'm happy to help. Okay, let me see. I think that is about it for my part of the presentation. I think we open it now to questions, right? Dr. C, did you have anything else you wanted to add? Can you get to us? You're still muted.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for unmuting me. Sorry about that, y'all. Internet went out. And so I'm obviously outside on my phone. Tiara, could you please put your contact information and my contact information in the chat? There were some folks that were asking for that. And I would say we're glad to answer questions the rest of this time, but also we are glad to answer emails and direct inquiries as well. It's very common to get those emails. So apologize for the tech delays. Tiara, are you seeing questions in the chat?
I need to go back through and look. I answered the one about the GMAT. Oh, walk us through a PhD class. That's for you.
Yeah. Yeah, so the PhD, really, if you're in the PhD program, there's going to be a core sequence of classes that it's going to be required that you take. Generally speaking, it's one class a semester. There's one semester where it's two classes, but the first class you're going to take would be actually over the summer. You'd have an intensive class that's drinking through a fire hose for 10 days. That's really learning what it is to be a PhD student, how to think, how to do research, and start to think and read like an academic. The first class you take would be a research methods class, learning to think about how to observe data and design studies in ways you can make inferences. The next semester you would be doing some statistics work, as well as learning how to use software to do your analysis. And we are very applied. You obviously have to know statistics to be a PhD, but we teach it in a very applied way with data sets where you are actually looking at real world problems. The first data set is a data set that's collected by FINRA looking at financial capability in the US. So we don't waste any time in theoretical land. It's all very applied to what you're going to do. And you'd move through in that way with statistics. You have a theory class. Theory is really important in understanding and predicting why people do what they do, and then move forward with that way. But the really strong thing about the PhD program, and Tiara mentioned it, is it's a cohort system. And the people you come in with, you are going to be in the same classes as them throughout. And so you will have lots of opportunities to build relationships. And that's why we really value the on-campus experience in the summer. This year, we're a little bit of a hybrid environment with COVID still, but allows you to build those relationships. Tiara, did I get that?
You did. And I was just going up here through some of the questions. One of the questions is it possible to apply for the PhD at any time after starting the master's in financial planning? And yes, you can. You do not have to already have earned the master's degree prior to applying. It is preferred if you have a master's degree, but it's not a requirement. So we do have students that will apply like midway through the program, just also the way that our deadline is. And then if they start the next summer, if they're interested in the program, we do encourage them to apply while they're in the master's program. Then it says, if you start with the graduate certificate program, may you switch into the PhD program? And the PhD program has its own application. So although you may be admitted to the master's or a certificate program, it doesn't automatically guarantee that you will be admitted into the PhD program. It is a very competitive program. And so it's just going through that process separately. It says, if you need to take the Pfp 105 course, how does that affect the cohort that you will go through the program with? Do you need that course to be completed before starting any other course? So we offer Pfp 105 multiple times throughout the year. And with the cohort with the financial therapy certificate, students can start that program at any point. And so you may have the same student in maybe 3 out of the 4 or 2 out of the 4. That is a little bit harder with the cohort, but you will be in the same class with several of the people that you recognize from the previous class. So we like for you to have that course completed before you start. But again, you can kind of talk to me about that and what you're thinking. In the fall, we offer our intro class the second 8 weeks. And so if you needed to take the 105 course, you could take that the first 8 weeks or take it this summer and then start right in with the intro class the second 8 weeks of fall. Let's see here. How long to complete the PhD? Okay, so our program is considered a part-time program. Depending on what the student needs to take, they will take anywhere between 3 and 9 credit hours a semester. Most of the time it's 3 to 6 credits a semester. It kind of depends if the student needs to take the CFP content courses. And most of our students do graduate, between 4 and 5 years. They don't really necessarily want to be in school any longer than they have to. So they really are motivated to, work on their dissertation and get it completed. And so I would say most of our students complete in 4 to 5 years.
And Tiara, I'd also just reiterate that all of our students have full-time jobs as well. So it is built and designed understanding students will have other commitments and responsibilities, and we're trying to work around that. So if you're working, considering it, that's what we're designed for, and that is what leads to the average graduation rate of 4 to 5 years.
And some semesters will be busier than others. I mean, that's just the way it is, kind of depending on your strengths coming into the program as well. One of the questions is the department does its best to admit. Oh, Diane answered that. That was your answer. Good. That is a great answer, Diane. And that is true. It is the industry is booming. There are a lot of opportunities out there for people, and it's a great career path. And so we do want to help as many well-qualified candidates into the master's program or the graduate program as we can. So it's not our goal to be a barrier to that. We want to help you achieve your goals as well. So we do admit students, if we can, unless there's some significant red flag that we wouldn't be able to. Our master's program definitely is a program that we want people to be in. We think it's a great program. We think it's a great field, and we want to help those who want to help others with personal finance. So we think it's great. PhD program, again, is a little bit different story, but it's more competitive for sure. I saw another question about pass rate on the CFP exam, and we have slightly above the average pass rate. So we're right around 70% or so, 71%. I think the national average is right around 68%.
63.
63%. Thank you. See,
and with the and with the CFP exam, the trick is that it still requires you to study for 200 hours. So with the content, you're going to be exposed to everything that is required. There's 72 learning objectives that have to be covered, and we will do that. At the end of the day, though, it's a matter of do you put in the time while you're in the program, and do you put in the time the 150 to 200 hours that you need to study to pass that exam.
And another question is admission on the PhD rolling, or do you wait until after December 1 to review all applications? We wait until after December 1st to review. So you can apply all the way up until December 1st. I like to tell people not to wait till the very end of November if they can. Just because it is an online system and you do have to upload documents, and it's just better to get it in towards the beginning of November as opposed to taking it up until the very last minute in case there's issues. So we do encourage that. K-State opportunities to cover some of the PhD expenses. So since we are considered an online program, we aren't traditional in terms of having like research assistants on campus and helping us that way. What we try to do is offer teaching the 105 class to our PhD students. That basically we pay them to teach the class and then they turn around and pay tuition with it. And so there's a couple reasons why we do that. One is just to help with some of the cost of the program. And then the other is to help provide teaching experience for them, since you know they would like to teach in the future. So it's a great win-win usually for them. So we have a Money 101 course, and then we have a Pfp 105 Intro to Personal Financial Planning. So those are the two that we on occasion will have PhD students teach.
And Tiara, I would add, if a student is interested in coming to Manhattan, we haven't had a ton of students that do that. We will support that, and we would be very interested in talking to folks. There may be the possibility for a more traditional assistantship for our students that are interested in doing that.
And then there's a question for the PhD program. You are not in a cohort during the core courses, correct? Just starting with the first summer intensive and then the following 3 years. So the program is, the courses are sequential. So students come to campus that first summer, they meet their cohort, and then they continue throughout the entire program with their cohort. We do have certain courses that are taken when the student chooses. One of them is the 808. If you've looked at our curriculum, it's a research application. Students must take that twice, and they can choose when they want to take it. Then there's another course, which is a seminar course. It's a 1 credit hour, and they must take it twice. And again, they can choose what semester they'd like to take that. But all of the other coursework is taken at the same time as the rest of your cohort. I was working on the master application, and it looks like letters of recommendation are needed there. But an email I received, it said that I only needed names and email addresses of 3 references. Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. So you do need to input the email address of 3 references in your application. Once you submit your application, then the grad school automatically sends those 3 people a reference form. And so those people need to know to look for the reference email from the K-State grad school, because oftentimes it will land in junk or spam. The person opens the email, they answer a short form, or they fill out a short form, answer quick questions about you. And then there's actually a spot right in the form where they can write their letter of recommendation for you. They don't have to attach anything. They can just do it right in the form. A little bit different for the PhD students. It is, I recommend that the PhD students have their recommenders upload a letter on letterhead and is a more significant letter than to the certificate program or the master's program. Another thing on that too, if you have one recommender that is not getting back with the grad school, because your application will not be considered complete and will not be forwarded to me in the department until all 3 references come back. So if you have 2 references completed, but not the 3rd, and that person is busy or they become ill or something happens, then you can change that email address to another person. So you'll want to monitor it on your end as well and make sure that your recommenders are getting back with the grad school. But if something happens, you can contact me directly or contact the graduate school directly, and you can change that person. The average time to complete the master's program is right around 2 years. Our classes are offered on a set time, so there is definite course sequences that students must follow in order to complete that 2 years. We offer a couple of classes in the summer, and that is the only time we offer those classes. So there definitely is a summer semester, and that is when you must take tax or applied behavioral finance. The PhD program, Dr. C, are you still there? Okay, I can answer this. Oh, you got it. You're moving from room to room. We never know where you're going to pop up. I'll take this one.
I'm so sorry. With the internet dropping, I'm now running from kids and cars and all sorts of things. So I apologize. I will be in the dark a little bit here. This is one for the records book. So the PhD program, I will. So since we started the GRE, we've actually seen less students actually apply, but we've seen it get even more competitive. I think we've been averaging 17 to 22 applicants and accepting 6 to 8. And those 17 to 22, we used to get more, but that GRE makes sure we get people that are really interested and really competitive, and we'll filter from there. Tira, was that the question?
Yes. Yep. And then also, I'll let you answer this one too. The courses, the question is, will they qualify for any FINRA licenses after any of the courses? You're muted. Okay.
So sorry. Sorry. So, and I think I'm finally to a place again. I cut my wife's eye, so she knows I'm running panicked around the house. So the FINRA licensing is really a separate process. So FINRA licensing is really going to depend on the type of firm that you want to work at, and the type of services that you have to provide. So, honestly, our investment class covers much of the content, probably for the SIE, and the CFP content will get you prepared for the 65. But this program is not designed directly for those classes. It will help for those exams. It will help, but not built around those.
Thanks. Another question about the references need to be in by December 1st for the PhD program. Yes. Yes. Everything needs to be in by December 1st. Okay. Another one is applying for the financial planning certificate, letters of recommendation back by the end of this week. Yes, you could potentially start in the summer. However, the sequence might be a little bit better to start in the fall. And the fall semester actually starts August 16th. So it's not a late fall semester. Again, the class we offer in the summer is tax. And so if you wanted to start this summer, that would be your class. You wouldn't then have a class next summer if you're just in the certificate program. If you start in the fall, first class is insurance and the second class is retirement. And so that's kind of how, and then the sequence moves around. Spring is investments and then estate planning. Summer is tax. And then in the first 8 weeks of fall is case studies. And so that's kind of how that sequence would work. Usually our fall cohort is fairly large, and fall is a great time to start the program. You can start in the summer if you want to, check one of those classes off, but fall is a great time to start. Did I hit all of the questions, Diane and Brittany? Did you see any that I missed?
I think you both have done a great job covering most of the questions. I'm looking through just to see if we've missed anything so far.
Okay, the transcripts, I'm assuming that's for the PhD program. That's what you're asking about. And yes, you can, okay, thank you. You can email those to me. I'll put my contact information in again in case you missed it the first time. But you can send the emails about your transcripts and what will accept as transfer credit. And then that way you kind of know what you need to take. It is a little specific just because there's not a lot of leeway like in our program. We have specific courses that have to be taken and specific things that need to be done. I am more than happy though to answer those questions individually because everybody has a different situation.
And Tira, so generally speaking, Jamie, it's nice you have your credentials in the blog. So generally speaking, you can transfer in 30 hours from a master's degree. So generally speaking, with an MBA, you can transfer in 30 hours. We also look to see if you have a CFP, because if you don't have the CFP, then you can't transfer in those full 30 hours. So this is not an official review, my friend, but generally speaking, somebody that applied with a CFP and an MBA would be able to successfully transfer in 30 hours towards the 90-hour degrees, generally speaking. Did I say that enough times, Tiara?
Yes, yes. And we understand that there are some degrees that you have challenge status with the CFP board. So a JD, if you're, you know, CPA, those types of things. And so and that's a whole different circumstance too. So if you have sat for the CFP exam and you've passed it and you have a JD, that's perfect. Same thing with, you know, in accounting. If you've sat for the exam under the challenge status and you pass the exam, and you have a master's degree that's maybe in accounting or finance or something else, again, that can satisfy the requirement. But every situation is different. So it's just best to send it to us directly. And then I saw, let's see, you can apply, the portal is open right now for the PhD program. So you can apply anywhere from now until December 1. And actually, this, I'm just going to put this out there because I know a lot of you are interested in the PhD program. We do have a requirement, a 10-page paper requirement that is currently listed on our website. We are in the process of changing that. And so if you have already started your application based upon those requirements, that 10-page requirement, that is fine. We will accept that. If you go back and check in another week or so and it says something different, then don't be alarmed. We are accepting both because we understand that we are changing it kind of mid-year here in the application cycle. But we are kind of revamping that that written piece that we want to see in the application. So if you've applied and you've submitted it based upon the 10-page paper, and then you just are checking around on the website and you see it a couple months down the road that it's changed, don't be alarmed because we will still evaluate your application materials based upon when you submitted. You have anything you want to add to that, Dr. C?
No, just a couple more things. So the $2,100 per 3 credit hours is just for graduate courses as a rough estimate. So it's the same for all. And Brittany's giving you some good information there about the reduced tuition rate that applied for the COVID time period. There was now I forgot the question. I apologize. Pierre, your question about Canada. So we're actually investigating a cross-border planning class. We've got a syllabus built out for it, but we're not going to be able to offer it just yet. But if you're interested in that, I'd love to have a conversation about that because that really is the next place I think we're interested in going. If you want to reach out, we're getting an increasing number of international students, and actually specifically from Canada. That are entering our program. There's a question about 2 courses per semester. Now, part of it is you could take more, but it's a matter of what's available and the sequence in which you can take those classes. So, really, what you need to do is just reach out to Tiara, and she can help design a curriculum plan for you, given your availability and time constraints. To get you through as quickly as feasible, given the course sequences. You know, in both degree programs, the content builds on each other. So there's only so much compression you can do without, you know, taking an advanced stage before understanding the basic content that's underneath it.
And I would say also, if you're working full-time and you have other commitments, taking 2 courses at a time in the master's program is a little difficult. I mean, you know, they're regular courses that have academic rigor, just like any other graduate course. So if you aren't employed and you don't have a lot going on, then we'll see students take, a couple, they'll double up on classes, and they do fine with that. It just depends on, how much study time you have and how much time you have to devote to the program.
Yeah. Ruth, master's is rolling admission, so you can apply at any point in time. And Tiara can move you through that process pretty quick in terms of the sequencing. Once again, master's and the certificates are open enrollment. The PhD is the one that is a bit of a stickler about when it is that you can enter the program. Jeff, related to changing in admissions, well, he just left, but I'll say it for the record. We're going to make the process streamlined a little bit. Currently, we ask for 10 pages of writing, and we're going to consolidate that down into a tier. I don't know what it ended up as, but it's somewhere between 3 and 4 pages. So if you haven't started yet, I probably would just wait a little bit on that so you can do the more concise writing there.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank both Tiara and Dr. C for that wonderful presentation. I have 9:01 on my clock, so I want to be respectful of everyone's time. And I also want to thank everyone for joining us here tonight. If you're ready to apply, please visit our website at online.ksu.edu and select how to apply for detailed instructions. As a reminder, everyone who's registered for the webinar will be receiving a recording via email as soon as it's available. Finally, if you have any additional questions that we didn't cover tonight, please don't hesitate to reach out. We also want to be sure to let everyone know that we do have application fee waivers available for those applying to the master's degree for the upcoming summer semester. So feel free to reach out to us at online@ksu.edu when you're ready to apply, and we will provide you with that code. So once again, thank you everyone for joining us tonight, and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you all.